This is your host, Jason Snellgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective We are back at it tonight, this afternoon, whatever time it is.
You hear me in there, Judge?
That coyote sounding dog? Squeaky mouth?
No. Left-handed in there, big mouth, hound mouth, chopping every breath.
Sound like that Walker dog?
No.
Oh, yeah, I got you in there.
Treat me right there.
Yeah, he's back from his Walker dog adventures.
I didn't go on a Walker dog adventure.
We're
Quit telling that nonsense.
I guess this is the Coonhound Collective East headquarters. Oh God, and we eat right in the middle of snack time at that.
Oh, I forgot. Let me put them up. Seriously. I had too much sugar. I was starting to get the shakes. If it bothered me, I had to get something else.
Yeah. So we didn't get in until early this morning.
I'm still a little tired, if you know the truth.
I was feeling pretty good, but as the days wore on, I'm starting to get a little...
Your eyes look squinty.
That's probably because they're about ready to take a nap.
You need some toothpicks.
I may have to pause this and take a nap and come back. No, we're going to talk about... We got some Apple reviews, some emails, some YouTube comments. I've been saying that we were going to read them, and I wanted to take time to get on here and get them read. And this is kind of the first time me and Brett's had a chance to get together and not be interviewing somebody or running one way or the other. We've been busy.
Yeah, and we had to deal with Aaron. You couldn't hardly get a word in with him.
Yeah, the week after this, you'll hear another podcast come out with Aaron Gamble. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the first one. You will definitely enjoy this one or get your feelings hurt one.
Blue ticker.
May get your feelings hurt on this next one, but...
Southwest Missouri blue ticker.
Yeah.
He's a dandy.
Yep. But if you got a blue female, you're missing out if you're not breeding to his blue dog if you're into blue ticks. He's got a good one.
Mm-hmm. He sure is.
Let's see here. I'm gonna start with the email I got.
You probably should have refilled your coffee.
Oh, I'm good.
You sound really tired on here. You're going to have to perk up a little bit.
I had to walk for your dog twice last night. And look at my arm. Look like I've been in a fight with a coon.
I love that. You know, everybody talks about it. Everybody needs a good truck man.
Yeah.
You know, I drove around for you. I've never been on that end of that. I guess that's a sign I'm getting old. But when you guys said, hey, just drive around. I mean, I got so excited, I got goosebumps. It was awesome. And then to see your lights walking up through there, I was just sitting there. I was drinking some Gatorade or whatever, and I don't know, I had a little snack or something, I'm sure. But I enjoyed it. It was awesome. Got to hear the dogs get treed in there.
Well, it was, the briars was rough in there. They were thick.
That's good, yeah.
I look like I've been in a fight with something when I come out, blood running down my arm.
I got to drive around on the perfect turnout.
Yeah, you did.
So what you got on them pineapple reviews over there?
Well, I'm going to start with, I got an email first. I'm going to start with it. This email is from Shelly Uchman Finley from Longmont, Colorado. And it's pretty long, pretty lengthy, but I'm going to just read this first part here.
All right.
I really appreciate her reaching out to us. She sent me some pictures of... Did you see the pictures?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, some pictures of some of the dogs and some of the Uchman brothers when they were younger. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was pretty cool. But she said, "Great interview. Thank you. The Coonhound Collective wanted to email you in case you don't see my appreciation on YouTube. Thank you for the stories. Lonnie was funny, authentic, and heartwarming fellow." So, Michelle, we appreciate you sending us that email and reaching out to us and sending the pictures, especially. That was great. So, all right, I'm gonna try to get caught up here on some of these comments on YouTube because I haven't read any of those. So
kick it.
The first one is on...
You're going to have to get a little pizzazz with it. Or you're going to have to get some coffee in you. You need your glasses? Hey, look. You want these? Hold on, I can't let you have those. Them are mine. These other ones over here. Chops, he's stretched out with his big head, and you kind of got a big old head on you, too. So there you go. Try them.
Good Lord.
What? It helped, didn't it? Those are just 1 power or 1.25s.
This is on Kim Jones's podcast that we did. Mm-hmm. David Jones, 9518. He says, hardly anybody hunts red bones anymore. Well, there are fewer to see out there, that's for sure. Then this is...
Did I ever tell you the red bone story?
No, but go
about
ahead
Chuck?
While I'm getting this pulled up. Go ahead. Because this has got a bunch of them. Go ahead.
This is my funniest red bone story. So Chuck Henson, you know, he can be kind of cocky and mouthy about getting ready to enter a hunt. You know, he likes to cut up and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be around the hunt and you know, you know, well, I'll tell you what, boys, I've got him tuned up tonight. They're in for a good one. They better have their dogs ready now. You know how he'll do. And anyways, he was at a hunt. I think I'm telling this right. He went to a hunt somewhere. I can't remember if it was an RQE or what it was. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think it was when he was hunting with it. She was younger because it's been several years ago. They drew out, and everybody was kind of bringing their cast out, and they was kind of everybody going to their trucks and stuff and getting their stuff on. And a couple of his buddies come up there, and he said, "Who'd you draw? Who'd you draw?" And he said, "Oh," he said, "I drew this. I drew an old blue tick from over west of here or whatever." He said, "I've hunted against him before, beat him before." He said, "Ain't nothing to him." And he said, "Then this other dog here's a Walker dog. I've drew him before too in some local hunts or something." He said, "I ain't worried about that dog either." And he said, he said, "This third dog I drew here," he said it's red bone female, 4-year-old red bone female." He said, "I don't know anything about her, but," he said, "I know all I need to know right now." I said, "I definitely ain't worried about her." He said, "I got this thing in the bag, you know."
Oh, God.
And he was cutting up and just being silly like he likes to do and just, you know, having a good time. He told this on himself. And I've never forgot it. And anyways, he said they went and turned him loose and had their hunt. And he said that red bone, that red bone put it on him. I think she treated 3 or 4 singles, and I mean, wore them out. And he said, I think it was either the 3rd or 4th tree we was walking to. He said, I told that old boy, he said, if you ever breed her, he said, take my name and number. He said, I want a pup out of her. And he said, well, it'll have to be her second litter after this one if she comes in heat, because he says, I've got more people that wants a pup out of this next cross out of her than she'll probably have, so it'd have to be the second. He said, well, you take my number. He said, you breed her. He said, I want one of them. Okay. He said, I don't do that no more. She broke him.
Yeah, I bet so. All right, this is from the Uchman podcast, part 1. Randy Spivey, 8098. Keep them rolling. Great interview. Kevin Shireman, 8401. Such a fun interview. Great history. Great family that has built the blue tick breed. David Nichols Jr., 8797. Always wanted to know the blue tick story. Lyle Uchman, 6586. Great interview. Brought back a lot of memories. I'm so proud of Dad and all the work he put into his dogs. My only complaint is Scout wasn't talked about enough. He was my favorite.
Lyle, you say?
Yeah.
Lonnie's boy?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And then, I'm going to mess this up, I know, but...
Probably.
I think it's Old Cow Catcher, 671.
Old what?
Old Cow Catcher.
Old Cow Catcher.
Yeah.
He'd be handy to have around at times.
Yeah. I hunt with all these guys. They are legends in the blue tick. All right, so I think... I mean, there's some others, but they're way, way back there, and we're not going to back up that far.
Okay.
So I think that took care of those 2 things, and so we've got some actual Apple reviews. Let me go down here to the oldest one. Okay. Uchman Blue Ticks, 5 stars. Tara Torrance, I think's how you say that. This podcast is a real national treasure. My Uncle Lonnie is telling such great stories. My Grandpa William would be so proud to hear the legacy told. He was so proud of his dogs, and my uncles are the best. Man, we're going to stretch out these headphones on this one.
Why?
Because they mention your name. Good podcast.
You're a funny guy.
from Bow Show Kennels. Love listening to Jason and all the guests. Highly recommend tuning in and hearing what they have to say. Brett Big Money Stevens has been on there, and y'all need to go hear his episode on Small Town Lone Survivor. Dog, keep up the good work, gentlemen.
What are you looking at me like that for?
Make sure my headset wasn't going to bust over there.
Ah, whatever. Appreciate that, Bow Show Kennels.
A true legend, 5 stars. A true legend of the Blue Ticks.
Oh, I thought you was fixing.
Connor.
They were still talking.
No.
He was still talking about me.
No.
You said a true legend.
Oh God.
Well,
Connor,
what did you switch?
Yeah, that's different.
Oh, who is it from?
Connor Lucas, the Blue Tick Man.
Blue Lucas. Appreciate it, Connor.
The Oochman boys are
I looked away. Sorry.
The Oochman boys are in the base of darn near every winter out there in a blue skin. This was definitely a podcast that needed to happen. We appreciate all the reviews, the comments on
Is that all you had?
YouTube, yeah, and the emails. Make sure you if you listen to this on YouTube and you're not subscribed, it don't cost anything to subscribe. Go ahead and click it. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we are getting close. I think I don't know, about 100 and something more to go, but they just keep just a few rolling in here and there every week, and I appreciate everyone that's subscribing, but I really like to break that 1,000 mark. So if you're listening and you're not subscribed, don't cost a dime. All it does is let you know when something new drops, and we get to rolling and hunting this winter. I'll probably be doing some more videos and putting some videos on there, and me and Brett might be doing some videos this winter too when we get to really rolling and the hunting's a little better. But and if you're listening to this on Apple, leave us 5 stars, leave us a comment. Just drop a few lines down there. Make sure you leave 5 stars. Did you have something?
Well, yeah, you left off another Apple review there.
Go ahead.
That was on the list.
Go ahead.
This one is from Paula Dean. Said she loves the podcast, but said if we added more butter to it, it would be even a better podcast.
Could you reply to her and tell her
Paula
we could
Dean.
use some fried chicken right now?
Man, I tell you what, thank you, Paula. I appreciate you listening in. Boy, have you ever ate down there at her restaurant in Branson?
Yeah.
Pretty good, isn't it?
That's all right.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Home cooked meals.
Yeah.
About like my wife.
Yeah.
About like, yeah. I might have been joking on that one.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Huh?
I bet you were.
But if she listened to the podcast, that's what she'd say.
That needs more butter on it?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's better with butter.
Yeah, that's where you come in.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's summertime. It's hot. It's been hot. Actually, last night we went hunting. Me and Brett went over to Aaron Gamble's. We recorded a podcast. We went hunting, and it was probably the nicest night we've had. And God, I don't know how long, because it has been miserable hot.
Nicest hot night we've had since it started getting warm.
Yeah, it was really nice. It's supposed to be nice again tonight.
I couldn't believe it.
But it's been hot. I think I've heard 2 stories of dogs stroking out while treed on a tree in a hunt.
This year?
Yeah. Died.
In a hunt.
Died.
Yeah.
They had to use their garments to get to it. So
that ain't good.
we're going to talk a little bit about, I don't know what order you had this in. Or does it matter?
It don't matter. We'll go ahead and...
Well, let's talk about the heat first, because that's...
Really?
Yeah.
That ain't what I had lined up first.
Okay, well, you just said it didn't matter.
Well, I didn't mean that.
Well, let's talk about the heat first.
What else are we talking about with it?
Puppy care.
Puppy care, whelping?
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to kind of mix a couple of topics.
What do you want to talk about on this heat and stuff?
Just some things that we can do to try to protect our dogs, try to be ready, try to be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah.
You know, when I had Creeper, one of the things that we had talked about was water baiting or floating or feed or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of products that I've used personally that I think works, and a couple of products that I haven't used that I've checked into that I think I'm going to try. But I don't really have a dog right now that's getting super hot, so I don't have that issue.
Well, they're going to.
Yeah, I know. But
we got a lot of summer left.
He don't tree like Creeper does. He don't tree very hard.
That's true.
Which I like. I know that's weird, but
you may not have him long. Well, he may not be around. You don't know.
After last night, if he keeps that on.
Hey, just so everybody knows, it's a W dog. And I'll tell you something else. He's got 2 of them.
I don't have 2 of them. One of them ain't even mine.
You have 2 W dogs in your kennel.
But one of them
I've seen them both.
But one of them ain't mine. That one's going back.
I'm going to make some noise here. I got an ear itch. Sorry.
That's okay.
And you're too far away to mute my mic.
Yeah, I ain't muting nothing.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
But
I'm never fidgety like this or anything.
Oh God, all the time. All that noise y'all hear on the podcast is him messing with his headset.
Oh, shut up. I'm about sick of you mouthing me. Everybody talking about me being fidgety.
But let's
getting off track.
Yeah, let's talk about heat. Let's talk about some things we can do to in the kennel and while we're hunting.
I've got several things on this heat.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll just comment in where I want to.
So you got dogs around the house and the kennel.
Yep.
You got things you can do while you're hunting. Traveling is a big deal.
Yep.
And preparing for the heat. Water baiting, wet feeding. And then I'm going to throw in something in there that I'm a big fan of, and it's feeding raw meat.
Yeah.
So
just start wherever you want.
A lot of guys may already be doing this. Some out there may not even have crossed your mind. And a lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about is either stuff that maybe that Jason's tried and done that's worked for him, or things that's worked for me. But first off, the one thing I want to say here is that you need to learn your dog.
Yeah.
You need to know what your dog can handle. Like you just said, that dog you're hunting right now, he may not need as much attention as a dog that just is just a blow down, give it all, tree dog, and don't take, super high strung.
And don't take what we're saying as gospel. You need to figure this out, and if you have a concern,
don't take everything that Jason says as gospel.
Please consult your vet. But we're just giving some things that we do, and or I guess we can call Russ and get him down here. We can get the unofficial vet opinion,
the local vet.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff I've learned from different people. A lot of this stuff is just kind of trial and error and experiment. And that's the other thing I was going to say is you need to experiment with your dog and see what works best for him. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these things that I'm going to share here, I'm telling you, the things that I'm going to talk about is things that I have either some things I've tried didn't work. I'm not going to really talk about those. I'm just going to share some of the things that I've done with my dogs or dog. Some of them require more than others. You know, some dogs, and those of you that are listening, I mean, some of you may have, you pull a dog off a tree or whatever you've been hunting, and you lead him to water and stuff, which up here, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but like down in the South, in a lot of places, I mean, that water down there looks like the coffee I drink.
Yeah.
Our water up here is crystal clear, and when my buddies from the South come up here, they just will stand around and they'll just get in a daze and just look at the water, and they'll just get off in this trance because our water just looks like drinking water.
Yep.
It's clear, you know what I mean? We got a lot of gravel. We don't have as much mud. We got a lot of rocks, so it gets filtered a lot. So there ain't very many places you can't lead a dog and get them in just some real good, either slow moving or even if it's just standing water. I mean, it's crystal clear.
Yeah.
Here, and we're blessed with great water quality here. That's for sure. So I'm not a big fan of, a lot of guys be like, it don't bother them. They could care less if they lead them to a stagnant old muddy hole. I don't want my dog drinking out of that. I'm just telling you. But therefore, I carry water. So, and you've seen my vest, and you felt of it last night, and I never even give her any of it last night because of our situation.
You didn't have to go to her.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I got to drive around.
You drove the truck around.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But anyways, so yeah, I carry a lot of water with me, and if you're listening to this and you got a dog that, I mean, it's hot, you need to carry water with you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Different things, and we're going to get into that. But
teach your dog to drink out of a bottle too.
That's right.
At the house.
That's
Are
right.
you going to talk about that?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And some guys carry them little portable, flexible bowls. Some dogs don't like to drink out of a water bottle, and some dogs just.
Well, I got my water bottle that's in my vest for the dog. It's got that squirt top on it.
Yeah, where you can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
That just experiment with your dog, see what works best for him. So like if you ain't going to a hunt or whatever, and you're hunting through the week and you're preparing or whatever, just trying to keep your dog tuned up. just try different things, different additives and all that. We'll get into that. So, but this is just what works for me. So around the home and around the kennel and stuff, something I've done this a few years ago, and I've had it on quite a bit this past week, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to, my wife's been around where she can go out there and turn it on. I've already got it hooked up, but I've got a sprinkler system out there with nozzles on every one of my kennel, and it just is a misting deal, and just to give them some relief, it's just so hot. I got a lot of good shade out there, so good shade. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just common sense stuff that guys are going to do. I mean, you keep them in good shade, keep fans on them, and a lot of guys, and I'm going to tell you, this is one thing that really aggravates me. A lot of guys don't give fresh water every day. They think if that water looks okay, it's clean. And it may be, and it's fine. But have you not ever noticed every time you do put fresh water in there, 9 times out of 10, that dog's going to come over and drink out of it? Almost every time. And
I don't actually dump the water every day, but
do you stick the hose down in it?
I let the water, because my hose run across the yard, so it's scalding hot when it first comes out. So I just kind of rinse the floors down and stuff like that, let it get cool, and then I stick it over in the buckets and let it run in each bucket while I'm feeding chickens or whatever I'm doing.
Let it flush through.
We ain't feeding hogs no more.
Let it flush through and overflow. And
pretty much, yeah.
That's what I do too.
Yeah. And if it's really, really hot, of course, not all the dogs like it, but if it's really hot, I will mist the dogs with the nozzle on the hose. But now
a lot of them will just run in, won't they?
Fat Boy and Belle, they don't mind it, but the rest of them, they don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they barking and peeing and they've been sprayed with water.
Most of mine don't like getting sprayed either. I don't know why, but
Belle thinks you're playing a game with her.
Lori, she never did like water, and Loner, he's not a big water dog either. But I mean, he'll swim water or whatever, but he don't like getting sprayed. So just simple stuff, having fans on them or whatever.
I do that.
But that fresh water, I don't know. I'm just real particular about it. I've seen even photos, sadly, on Facebook or social media and stuff. People take a picture of a dog, and the first thing I'll see is a water bucket.
Green.
And that thing is just so green it's almost turning black on the inside.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, which I know you probably mainly only ever had Loner as a male dog, right? And your water bucket is up off the ground too, so maybe you don't have this issue. Yeah, probably with male dogs peeing in their water bucket.
That's why I got his water bucket off the ground.
Okay.
They'll do it. I don't know why they do it.
They are stupid.
CH over here, it's got the rock dog, we tried getting collected. He, of course, everybody else, a lot of guys that I hunt with or whatever, buddies, whatever, most people's got females. A lot of us are all female guys, but he had his. He said, "Oh, Rock do the same thing. I want to pee in his bucket." So he had it elevated.
I'm going to have to raise mine, too.
Yeah, they'll do it. Just elevate it, get off the ground. So hunting, let's get on to hunting in this heat. So one thing that I want to talk about first on this hunting and stuff and the heat and everything is I've noticed, and I've seen pictures of this, and I've drew out with guys, and it may not matter, but I've always been paranoid about having a dog collar too tight.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you what, man, loosen them dog collars.
Especially when it's hot.
I put my tracking collar behind the normal dog collar. And I see a lot of guys run the tracking collar in front of and right behind the ears of their main collar. And if you do that, that's fine. That's your deal. But I think a reason a lot of guys put them on so dadgum tight is because they're afraid they're going to lose their tracking collar. Now, I lost a tracking collar one time, and I wasn't very far from Michigan at Autumn Oaks, and I about had a heart attack. But it was because them piece of crap Garmin collars ain't no good. I hate them. I've never used one since. I swap them out every time.
Well, I probably run
the little clasp on it come loose, but
I probably run mine too loose, honestly. I think you've even said something to me about that before, but because Creeper lost his at the zones up there, stuck his head in the pile, and me and Braxton dug trying to find
I think you can get them too loose, but more than too loose, I see guys got them ratcheted down so tight on their neck that you can see the hide coming up on the sides of the strap.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And, man, I'll tell you what, loosen your dog collars up. I mean, I hate to tell people, man, what to do about his dog, with his dog, but that just gripes me to no end. I mean, can you imagine being out here working and having on a turtleneck? I mean, that's what they're dealing with.
I'd like to go about half naked when it's this hot, but
oh yeah,
they'd probably put me in jail.
Yeah, they definitely would. But anyways, loosen them collars up. And another thing, well, enough of that. You was talking about teaching them to drink from a bottle. Some dogs just ain't good about drinking from a bottle. I've got one out there just ain't good about drinking from a bottle. And so I'm probably going to have to, and I've got one of them and I've seen guys carry them too, and everybody probably knows they're out there. But the ones that don't, we're going to share information here. But they've got like a little carabiner clip on them, and they're flexible. They're a little rubber bowl, and you push it, and it opens up, They've got different styles of those, but, if they won't drink from a water bottle, carry one of them pouches on there, carry a bottle of water with you. Some guys use bounce back, and some guys I've heard guys say that they've used Gatorade mixed half and half, or whatever. Another thing you can do, it's simple, is bait the water bottle with something to get them to drink if you want them to drink. They usually don't consume enough.
Bait it with what?
Whatever. I'll tell you one thing I've done. I'll tell you a little funny. Don't bait it with something they're really, really going to want. You don't want them sticking around you. I sampled that one. Tried that out one night, and it's like, they just want to stick around your feet. They don't want to go on. Don't make it too good.
Yeah.
I think I put some sardine oil in it, if you know the truth.
The bounce back,
and
that she
liked it.
That stuff I do like, and it does work. And that actually come recommended from my vet with Creeper when I had him, because I guess it was last year or the year before when it was so hot. I took him to the vet because I thought something was wrong with him. Done a blood panel on him, come back a little dehydrated. And she actually recommended, because he's high strung and he don't drink a lot of water.
Yeah. I've got some things that I use, and I got one thing I'm not going to share.
Oh, the secret.
Sorry.
The secret sauce.
I'm just not going to.
Okay, secret sauce.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you're listening to the podcast and you want to know what it is, just shoot me a message on Facebook. We'll do that. That way we know if they're listening.
Yeah.
Okay. But I like to use bounce back, and I buy maltodextrin powder, and I mix it in there. And I like to carry that mix. And I like to carry a plain water bottle of just regular water for cleaning out the back of the throat. They get, you pull them off the tree, they get so frothed up and stuff.
I'm not sure about the Gatorade thing.
That's why I carry regular water, but, huh?
I'm not sure, because they get frothed up like you're talking about, and you need to wash the back of their throat to help them cool down. When I drink Gatorade,
get slimy
and thick in your mouth. And
first thing I want to do is take a drink of water right after I drink it. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not sure that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
I don't use it.
Maybe it's great. I've never used it, but
yeah, I don't use it either.
Bounce back on water is what I've used so far. In the woods. Now in the kennel, do we already?
There's another one out there. I'm going to try. What?
Blue light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading on.
Yeah.
And I was going to order some of that and try it. But I ain't got a dog really right now that gets hot.
We'll just buy a big batch of it and split it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We can do that.
What was the other thing about we talking about the kennel?
Well, because we talked about water baiting in the kennel.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd already talked about it.
No.
Okay.
No, we're going to get on that. That's going to be the last thing.
Okay. Because there's something you told me that I used on Creeper that I think did help a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
You might have to remind me if I don't have it, if I don't remember. But so, between trees and stuff, and this goes back to learning your dog and experimenting with them. One time I was hot. I can't remember what hunt I was in. I was hunting loner, and it was a big hunt. I don't remember if it was an RQE or what it was, but it was one that I definitely, I want to win them all, obviously, but it was a really important hunt. And it was really, really hot, and I was drinking a lot, and I felt like I needed a lot. And so in my brain, when I would pull him off of trees, I was letting him drink all that he wanted. And I don't know what it was, but it made him sluggish. And I think it was, and it may not have been that.
Too
may have been just
sloshing around.
I think it was just too much for him. I think I just give him too much. So I quit doing that and would just kind of monitor how much I give him, trying to, just guessing really until I figured it out. And then just the more you hunt, the more you get to know him, the more you learn him. I mean, it's just all there is to it. But yeah, I done that one time. Didn't like the results I saw out of him. He just, like I say, he just didn't seem his normal self. I didn't do it no more. I've never had trouble with it since.
Yeah.
I've never had him do it again. So, test your dog out. Again, this is just stuff that works for me, and you just got to experiment with them on your own. And another thing I like to do is, when you pull them off a tree, even if you don't have time and you're just, you're pleasure hunting and you come across water, even if they don't drink. My moon female don't like to drink much. If you can get them to stand in water and get their feet in water, they'll cool down a lot through their feet. And a lot of guys know this stuff, but I like to splash it up on their armpits, up on their groin, and that's a lot of the good cooling spots. Of course, them dogs, when they pant, they're cooling themselves. Squirt some of that fresh water in the back of their throat. And, I can't remember that vet that I heard that podcast on, I hear these podcasts, you hear them and you think everybody else has heard them, and not everybody hears every podcast out there. But the way he described this was, he said that in the back of their throat, when they pant, they've got and I forget what the terminology was, so I'm not good with that. I'm not a vet, obviously.
Radiator.
I'm not. Yeah, it was like a radiator is the way he described it, wasn't it?
Tree dog dock.
Yeah. And he said if you squirt that back there, it cools them off. It just cools that and gets all that saliva and foam and everything off of there, and cleans it off. Just like having a radiator plugged up with bugs and dirt and gunk, you ain't getting no flow through there. It ain't getting cooled. So it cools the so and I've done that a lot. That works. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, with Creeper, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was just that or if it was a combination of everything I was doing, because I was doing multiple things at one time.
Right.
It was a battle with him to keep him cool.
Yeah. So anyways, you got anything else to add on the hunting part?
No.
Okay.
No, bounce back, keep fresh water on you, or at least at the truck. I mean, if you're recutting, you need to keep it on you.
If you're hunting, a lot of times I'll ask that too. It's one thing about it. Are we hunting this one spot?
Yeah.
Or are we dropping and gathering up? And a lot of times, even if they say they're going to drop and gather up, dogs getting split up usually don't get to do it anyways, So I just, gosh, my pack is
40 pounds.
It's heavy. You'd think I was elk hunting, going into the backcountry and elk hunting with the elk pack.
And people think that's what, and I ain't going to get off on this tangent, but I am a little bit here. With Aaron, we talked a little bit about anti-hunters and how they're attacking us. And people think we're just out there turning these dogs loose, letting them do whatever. I mean, we're taking time to think how much water we need to haul in here with us for the dog, not for us, for the dog.
Oh yeah, I haul more water for him than I do myself.
I might not even take water from me, or if I go in there and I put a bottle of water in my pouch for me and his bottle's empty, then that's his water. It ain't mine. I drink lap. When I come home, my dogs drink first and eat first. I check my dogs on the tailgate when I get to the house.
You bet.
And make sure we ain't got no whatever, snake bites, ticks, sticks stuck in them, whatever. But anyway,
we take care of them. We treat them right.
Yeah,
they're like our kids, I mean, they're just like.
Well, I mean,
we get attached to them.
They're athletes that can't talk.
That's right.
All we're doing is walking behind them.
That's right.
You can be fat and out of shape like me.
On that note, that you was talking about, you need to carry a life straw.
I thought about that.
They don't weigh nothing.
Yeah. I've
started carrying one of them things. If I'm carrying a bunch of water for my dog, this thing over here ain't taking up a lot of weight. You can come across I've yet to drink out of a nasty muddy old pond with it.
I have one, and we've tried it. Me and James, we've tried it, because actually he's got it in his pouch now.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, if
it works.
Was it legit on the nasty old water?
Yeah, out of my
I haven't
pond.
been brave enough to do it or thirsty enough yet, but I'm going to tell you where I learned.
Out of my pond is where we tried it.
I'm going to tell you a funny one here. If you're an elk hunter and you're listening to this, you're going to like this. So I was elk hunting, and I had a friend of ours, and he introduced me to those things, and I'd heard of them, but I thought, there ain't no way them things work the way they advertise them. We was in the backcountry. We were hunting, gone all day long, and he'd ran out of water, and he said, and we found a bull wallow. Those bulls wallow in them, and it's just a muddy, and when they're rutting, they're urinating in that thing. It's just nasty. Anyways, this guy that had this he's the type of guy that I wouldn't think would have done this, and he was so thirsty he wasn't thinking, but he had an empty water bottle, and so he just cut the top off, and the water was kind of running through it a little bit. This wallow wasn't just like a stagnant pond wallow. It had a little bit of water coming through it from a little stream, and through some thick grass. And he cut the top of his cup off and stuck it underneath there and was filling it up. And I said, he had to get in this life straw, and he was talking about it, and he was going to drink that water. And I said, well, why don't you get above that wallow? You're drinking water that's coming right out of that bull wallow. I said, man, I wouldn't drink out of that bull wallow. It blowed my mind that he would, because that's something he wouldn't do. He said, oh, it's fine. He said, it ain't gonna matter. He said, this thing filters out all contaminants or everything. Well, it was three of us, me and him and another buddy, and my other buddy started laughing. He said, well, we'll find out whether or not we're interested in buying us a life straw, because you find out whether you get out of bed in the morning. Yeah. He'll be sick, tomorrow morning. So if you ain't sick in the morning, then we're gonna know this life straw is legit. And he drank out of it. And I said, does it taste bad? He said, no, it don't taste bad. He said, I can't even taste nothing. And I just blowed away. So we laughed about it all day. We teased him all day while we was elk hunting. It was like, is your stomach hurting yet? You ain't feeling sick? No, I'm feeling good. And he never got sick. And I thought, I'm going to get me one of them. And I did. So, anyways, enough of that.
You got it in your coon hunting vest?
Keep it in my vest. It doesn't weigh nothing.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's laying right there. I can't remember what I took it out for. But you can get a little case with them.
Yeah.
You can buy them in a 2-pack, and they'll come with a case, or you can buy them they're cheap, $10 or something.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
cheap insurance.
They are, and they don't weigh nothing.
Unless you're hunting where there ain't no water.
They weigh
you're screwed.
Yeah, that's true. But they weigh as much as an empty water bottle.
Yeah.
Nothing to them. All right, traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling in this heat. One thing about traveling, I remember years ago, we'd all get together and go to Autumn Oaks, and anybody that goes to Autumn Oaks or through I-70 and up through there, they're always working on that road. I mean, they're always working on it. And it seemed like it was always in the middle of the day, and it was, end of August, September, September, and it was hot. You'd get stopped in traffic up there. Well, you got a dog in a dog box on the interstate, and it's 95 degrees out there. Them dogs in them boxes get hot.
Need you a hammock to go in your back seat for them.
Some guys haul them like that, I guess.
That's where Belle would be if I was going.
Not if we was in my truck. She ain't riding in my truck, Jack. No, you can forget that. But we've had times where, we get nervous, like, boy, I wish they'd let us, this traffic would, stopping on that construction, and be like, man, these dogs are going to get hot. It was a 10-hour trip for us, so we'd freeze jugs here, and they'd be melted before we got up there. And every time we'd stop and get gas, we'd buy a bag of ice, and it didn't last. You'd throw in there common sense, throw a bag of ice in there. It's just too hot, but for them. So, and that works fine. But one Autumn Oaks I went to, and it was just me and a couple, but it wasn't a big group of all of us. I drew out with an older gentleman, and this is where I learned this from. I drew out with an older gentleman from Tennessee, Walker Dog man, by the way.
You did learn something from Walker Dog guy.
Did.
Okay.
I did. It was a good one too. A good lesson. So we drew out, and we was getting satellited to Convoy. And anyways, I rode up there with a buddy, so I had to ride with him, and we was getting satellited, and he told me I could ride with him, and so I met up with him out there and went to load my dog up in the box. And he had these fans on each side of his vent, and they were big. They were 10 or 12 inch. They wasn't like these little bitty cheapy fans which I've had those before, that take D batteries. And I can blow harder than them things can put enough air out, but they don't work too good. But anyhow, he had these fans in there, and he had double layer pads, buddy bowls, and them fans. And I said, man, my dog don't know it's not gonna know what to think riding in your box. I said, she's gonna be spoiled. And he said, oh, you got to take care of these dogs in this heat. He said, it's too hot. You got to keep the wind circulating in there. And he said, let me show you. I said, they put off a lot of air. And he goes, let me show you this. He turned them things on. He had a switch on his. He turned them things on. I'll tell you what, you throw a piece of paper in there of any kind, it ain't staying in that box blowing out the door. And I was impressed, and I thought, this is a good way to go. So,
you me tell you what Nathan Kaufman would say?
What? I ain't telling what he'd say.
Buy you a CZ custom dog box, and it'll put enough air through there for you. You won't need a fan.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's I've got 2 boxes now, and the one box that Nathan built me, that's one thing I do like is the slides come slam out of it. The center divider is actually expanded metal, So air does flow through it really good.
I do agree it does, and they are ventilated good, and they are an excellent box. But I will say this:
I don't know about just sitting on the interstate.
If you're sitting on the interstate and the sun's beating in on the side of that thing, it ain't good. I'm gonna get me these fan setups, and so I did. And anybody listening to this, I'm telling you, it'll be the best thing you've ever bought if you hunt in the summer a lot. And what it is it's I guess they call them a radiator fan. You can get them on Amazon. They're 10-inch or 12-inch. And you can wire them up however you want with a switch, fuse, run them straight to your battery, however you want to do it. But I'm going to tell you what I done. I run mine to my trailer hookup hitch. And so when I turn on my running lights on my truck, they'll come on. Yeah. And I can turn it off and on there because I got it wired into my hitch. I've got each individual fan to where I can unhook them. If I, like last night when I come home, I unhooked that one side. I didn't need it. Well, I done it yesterday coming to your house, but I just unhooked that one side. But they're great, and you just wire them up however you want. They're 12 volt, but and they're about $30.
These are hung on your, so on like a Houndsman Deluxe or whatever. They're hung on the side over the side vent, not on the door, over the side.
On the side vent.
Yeah.
And your air comes through
from the back to the front.
From the back to the front.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to give you an example on this, and this goes back to learning your dog. If you got a real high-strung dog, and I've seen this before, and I ain't knocking these guys. Like I say again, this is what works for me, and I'm just sharing it. So, but if you got a high-strung dog that you go to hunt, and you tie them out, and they're just wound up. They know what's going on. They know they're there to compete. They see other dogs. They see people, and they're just wound up, and they're jumping at the chain, and then you'll see some dogs. You'll just look over there, and they'll be laying down over there in the shade, resting. That's what I like to see, okay? And this goes again to learning your dog, and this is just something that I've picked up on, but they're burning a lot of energy, whether they're barking. I mean, you've been to all these hunts. These dogs are barking. They're tied up. They're barking, jumping, lunging, pacing. They're high-strung, wound up, and whatever's going on around there may be causing it. I want my dog, if it's summertime like that, even if it's winter, I don't want him doing that, but I want him cool, and I want him rested. Yeah. I don't want him burning a bunch of energy out there on that chain, dog lead or whatever, bouncing around. And most of your guys are going to be tying them out because it is hot, and that's fine. Put them in the shade, tie them out. Some dogs will just lay down. It's got some sense. Some of them that don't, they're either high-strung or they're a younger pup. They're just wound up. I want mine cool. I want him rested. I want him burning his energy later when I'm competing against you. I don't want him burning energy out here on dog lead. Yep. So I'll give you one example. When I was at the zones, the PKC zones, year before last.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was really, really hot out there, and it had been hot. You've got to prepare these dogs for what weather.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, you do. And so I knew that I was going to be drawing excellent dogs. I wasn't going to be drawing no slouches, and that I couldn't cut corners anywhere. I had to do everything that I could do to take care of my dog so that he could perform. I think he was the only dog out there in the dog box. I never saw a dog. Every dog was either tied up to a tailgate. Some was tied up to their tailgate laying under the truck. Some was tied up to the tailgate bouncing around like a yo-yo. Some was tied in the shade. And I've seen this everywhere, but this was just my experience. I had that fan on. I would go out there every 30 minutes and I'd start my truck, but I can run that fan without my truck running. Mm-hmm. And I could see that my park lights was on from wherever I was standing. I would just look out there, and if my park lights wasn't on, I know my fan shut off, But I would always go out there and check. But I pre-froze a bunch of pop bottles, and I had a cooler that was just plumb full of pop bottles, frozen. That's all. That cooler was 4 loner. And I would put a frozen jug, inside his box in front of that fan, and he loved it in there. He was cool, he was rested, and the other reason why I kept him in there is because if you tie him out, he wants to go sniff or see every dog. Yeah. Once he does, he's done. Once he goes over there and introduces himself, sniffs, whatever, he's done. He'll walk away. He'll want to go to another. It's like he wants to go see every dog there, you know.
Yeah.
And if you tie him out and all that, because he's not real high strung. He's a hyper dog, you know. He's wound up, but he don't act like his age. But I don't want him burning a bunch of energy. That's my main thing. What I'm getting at. So I kept him cool, and I kept him rested. And you know, his mama Lori, she wasn't that way. I could tie her out. She'd lay down underneath the truck. She wouldn't run. She wouldn't be lunging. She could care less about checking out any other dog there. She'd chill out in the shade and rest, and that was fine. So it just depends on, learn your dog, know your dog, just take care of them. But that night, you know, we had a dog that got so hot when he treated coon right out the gate. The other dog did, and recut him. He ended up. I don't know if he made a second tree or not. I'm trying to think. I think he came into us, and the dog quit. The dog was hot.
Yeah.
And I talked to that guy later, and he said, "What are you doing to keep him going like he's going?" And because, I mean, he was hitting on all cylinders. I mean, I had him prepared for the heat.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to get into next. I want to talk about. But and you know what? There's some guys out there that listen to this too. That's, you know, everybody's got a little trick, or they've got a little something that, and that's why I like sharing stuff, talking to people. You can learn a lot from guys if you just listen.
Yep.
And one little simple thing can make all the difference. But I've always said that, you know, as far as preparation and stuff, is what you've done yesterday or in the past week is what counts for today.
Yeah.
You've got to keep them in shape. You've got to prepare them for this heat. Hunt them in the heat. You know, it sucks. You know, just the other night,
yeah.
You know, I had a bad hunt.
Yeah.
I was hot. I was dripping with sweat before I ever turned her loose. I had a horrible hunt. She ran a couple of roads on me. Had to run her down. I was mad, which makes me hot. And I finally just, after the third time I come to the house, I had a gutful. Well, we'll just try again another night. You know, you just have bad hunts. You have bad nights. And it sucks to hunt in the heat. Nobody likes doing it, but you've got to keep them. You got to prepare them. A lot of people's going to think this sounds cruel, but this is my experience. Some dogs just can't handle it either, but I treadmill mine in this heat.
Yeah.
And I don't get radical. I mean, it might be anything from a fast walk to a cool down to a slow walk. But if I'm preparing one for a hunt, and if I'm not hunting, let's say I'm not going to hunt every night. Let's say I'm going to hunt every other night. I'm definitely on those off days. That dog's getting some kind of getting prepared for this heat.
Treadmill, side by side.
You bet.
4-wheeler, whatever.
You bet. Pull them off. Give them water like you'd pull them off a tree. Try to mimic those same things. Yeah, a lot of guys will run them on a 4-wheeler and everything else. So, anything to add?
No.
Now, you're going to want to talk about the water baiting deal. We're going to get onto that.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Wet feeding and water baiting.
And raw meat.
I wet feed the dogs that I'm hunting about 10 months out of the year. I wet feed in the winter. A lot of times a dog won't drink a lot in the winter.
After I started doing it with Creeper, I wet feed him every time he eats.
It helps, doesn't it?
Oh, big difference.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah.
They don't drink as much. You keep them hydrated. You got to do whatever you can do to prevent dehydration as much as possible. That's the main goal. I'm no vet or anything. I have learned a lot of this stuff from vets. That one guy, I can't remember his name. I've drew a blank. I've been trying to think of it for 10 minutes. He's sharp.
Dr. Taylor Young?
No. I'll think of it here later. If I do, we'll give a shout out to him. I just can't remember. But I've learned a lot from him. And I've tried some of the stuff that he said. And I'm telling you, he knows what he's talking about. Some of this stuff that I've learned, I'm sharing with you here. But they need more fluids than what they'll consume themselves, it seems like. And not all dogs, like I say, you know, I told that about Loner. I was giving him too much, you know. And I feel like that's what happened. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe he was just worn slap out.
Yeah.
And was just, you know, and maybe he didn't feel good, whatever. But I feel like that's what it was. So water baiting and wet feeding will help with it. And again, like I said earlier, what you've done yesterday or 2 days ago or the past week, that's what counts for tonight's hunt.
Yeah.
So every time I feed, I top the bowl. I mean, I got those spill-proof silver bowls. The amount of feed that I feed of dry dog food, I'm probably giving twice as much water with it.
I got feed floating. Mine that's how. I mean, with Creeper, I was literally measuring water, but after doing it for a while, and I kind of, okay, yeah, that's about what I was giving. So now, which I don't have a dog like him, but now the dog that I'm hunting every night or every other night or whatever, I'm putting my dry dog food in his bowl, and then I make sure the water is, first of all, cool coming out of the hose. I literally have his food floating whenever he is eating. I want that food floating, so I make sure he's getting plenty of liquid.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what you got to do. And a lot of guys don't think about that. They just feeding the dry dog food every day and going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in this heat and stuff, them dogs are drinking what they need maybe to lay around out here in the kennel.
Well, if you pay attention to if you fill your water buckets up every day and pay attention to each individual, I mean, I've had 4 or 5 dogs in the kennel at one time, and I can tell you, when I had Creeper, those other 4 dogs would drink twice the water he would drink. I could literally measure from the top of the bucket down what he drank every day in the heat, and it wasn't much. What wasn't enough for him to recoup the liquid that he was losing.
Right. If you're not water baiting, a lot of times when you feed them, they'll some dogs that are kind of finicky, they'll turn their nose to it and they won't drink it or eat it.
Yeah.
Common sense thing. I mean, if you're gonna start this, you're listening to this, and you're like, hey, I ain't been water baiting, I'm gonna try this. You got a picky dog, you already know that she or he is a picky eater or something. Feed him or her half feed the day before, and then the next day water bait. They'll drink it and eat it.
Oh yeah, they will.
So
even when you think this dog I'm hunting now, you could tell he'd never been water baited, because the first time I floated his food, he wouldn't eat right away like he normally does.
Yeah.
But I went on and done something, come back, and he was eating. So
wasn't he kind of finicky eater too? Was he kind of picky?
He's kind of like Creeper about the peels and stuff.
Yeah. And another thing that I do, and I was telling this guy that when we was hunting in the zones over there at the PKC deal, because he told me that he was doing some of the things that I was doing. He wasn't doing all of them, and we talked about that as we was walking out and the hunt was over. And I shared all of it with him. I mean, I felt bad for the dog. That poor dog he got hot, and he was kind of shaking, and stuff. And so, but I feed, and I don't feed all of my dogs this. It can get expensive. It takes some time. It takes some preparation. I don't know how everybody's home and garage or where they've got their dogs, that everybody's set up different, but I got my little feed room off out there to the side. I got a little refrigerator in it, and that's the handiest thing ever that I've ever done, because I feed raw meat.
Yeah.
And if I'm hunting loner and I'm running him in the comp hunts and stuff, or a dog that I know that I'm preparing that's going to be my next upcoming dog, she or he's, well, not he.
She. Just go ahead and say she.
She. It ain't going to be a he. She's going to get it. And I've noticed that the more of it I feed, the less they will drink during a hunt. Now, that female I talked about earlier that don't drink a lot, she's better. She's better off if she just stand her in water.
Yeah.
And let her cool off, or just kick with your boot and splash up on her groin, underneath her chest and stuff, some water and cool her off, because she just don't drink very much. But if you're feeding a raw meat, and I'm talking, if you wanted to just try something, and I'm not going to get into a lot of details on this unless you want me to.
We can just get general, because you got to learn your dog first.
You do, and but for a simple fact, you go to Walmart or a grocery store, anywhere, whatever you want to do, and you just find the cheapest thing you can find, a family pack of chicken thighs. chicken legs, drumsticks. Buy them. Water bait your dog with your regular dog food. Cut his feed in half or whatever it is. You're going to have to figure out what he's going to operate best on. And give him a whole chicken thigh, raw, bone and all.
Yep.
He'll bite that thing in half, swallow that thing whole. And I'm gonna go as far as to say this: even if you didn't water bait him with his regular dry dog food, in addition to feeding him the chicken thighs or a chicken leg, and depending on the size, I mean, you may have a smaller dog. A chicken leg may be better than a whole thigh. A whole thigh for a dog with just a little bit of dog food. If you ain't hunting it, that thing get fat on you
quick.
Some of them will, some of them won't.
Yeah.
But most of them are they're gonna put some weight on. That's my experience of what I've noticed. But anyways, you're gonna notice that dog is not gonna consume as much water because of so much moisture in that meat. They're gonna drink. I mean, I'm not saying they're not gonna drink, but they're not gonna consume as much as if you was just feeding dry dog food.
Yeah. Yeah, chicken thighs was what I went to with Creeper.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I
think a combination of it, the water, baiting, keeping water with me.
Yep.
I mean, there was one time during the summer we were hunting, and it was 90-something degrees when I was turning him loose. I was dumping water on him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a combination of those things, and you got to know your dog. You know, this dog I'm hunting, I don't really know that much about him. Like I said, I don't think he's ever been water baited. You could just tell. But because I'm hunting him on the regular, I'm water baited. Now, Belle, I have water baited her, but she'll drink out of a bottle too, so it's not that big of a deal. And she drinks plenty of water. Mm-hmm. She drinks more water than every dog in the kennel. So, or she's playing in it, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because she likes to play in it. But you just got to get to know your dog and know what you need to give them, how you need to give it to them. And I've never fed a raw food diet ever up until me and you talked. Mm-hmm. And I started with Creeper. Belle's been on it. I have not started this new dog on it yet, just because I've been lazy and haven't went and got my stuff out of the freezer and defrosted and cut it up and stuff. I've got stuff to feed them, but I just haven't done it. And when I'm fixing to redo my kennel barn, and when I redo it, I'm going to close in the front half of it, and I am going to move a refrigerator freezer up there just for that.
Yeah, it's
just
handy.
To make it more convenient.
Oh, it's so handy. And not to get off on too much of this dog food topic and all this, because
here we go.
What?
You fixed to open can of worms now?
No, I'm just saying we're gonna do a dog food podcast.
Yeah, I guarantee you it's gonna be multi-part.
Oh, it's gonna be multi-part.
It might be a whole month's worth.
We've got a couple of guests.
And I'm gonna try to work on a nutritionist as well.
Okay, that's good. And so, anyways, that's going to be coming up. So we're not going to get into a whole lot of that. But I am going to share something that, you know, if you've got a connection, because it can cost you a lot, and it takes a lot of time. It really does. You got to be committed to spend the time and prepare to feed these dogs, you know, raw meat. I mean, it's easy to feed a dog food out of a bag.
Yeah.
So, but I feed. You know, I'm a big beef liver fan, and so I like beef liver. A little dab will do you, but I've got a good connection with ground beef, beef heart, beef liver.
I think beef tongues is my favorite. They love beef tongues.
Really?
Oh, they'll just about take your hand off. I mean, they love it.
I use beef fat in the wintertime. You can put a little bit of beef fat, just a little bitty small chunk in with your water in the wintertime. If, you know, a lot of times in the wintertime, they don't seem like they want to drink as much, and you can put that beef fat in there and just kind of slurry that around, and I'm telling you what, they'll try to eat the bowl out, eat the whole bowl, bowl and all. But
bacon grease too.
Yeah, you know, I don't do bacon grease. I don't know why. And I do want to mention some additives.
The only dog I've ever used on is Creeper, just to make him drink more.
And I will tell you a good one is powdered colostrum. And if you want to put, I mean, it doesn't take a a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of powdered colostrum stirred in there. I mean, dogs love milk, most of them.
Oh,
you know, they love milk and cheese. I mean, hounds love cheese. I train with cheese. And, you know, obedience stuff. They love block cheese. So, but anyways, that colostrum is a good one to bait with that, you know, if you don't want to add chicken or whatever. But if you want to flavor it, you can even put that in your water bottle hunting.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very much of it. And it'll give them a drink. You can put that in your regular water, not mix that with your bounce back. Another thing on that bounce back, too, by the way, some stuff I think can kind of mess with their GI tract. So what I do is, and just for example, like with Moon, you know, it's hot. We've been hunting her. Door's fixing to open. We're got a visitor. But anyways, I will water bait with, that's fine. I'll water bait with the bounce back just to get her used to it. And so if she's getting that with her feed and she's eating the feed, obviously, and she likes to eat, so it just gets her used to it. She'll drink from a water bottle better too. Yeah. I mean, you can even put a little peanut butter on the cap of your water bottle, screw it on there.
Yeah. And
then it's just going to be on that rim of it. I mean, it's easy to get a dog to drink from a water bottle, but some of them just refuse to do it. If they do, just buy one of them flexible bowls. One other thing before I forget about water baiting, and we was talking about traveling, and I didn't mention this on the traveling and stuff, is if you're water baiting and you're putting a lot of water in them,
they got to go to the bathroom.
They are going to pee a lot more than you're used to. So if you're traveling,
you're going to stop.
And it's nothing for you to go, all right, I'm driving 3 hours. In a 3-hour trip, you better stop.
Yeah.
If you got a male dog, obviously they like to pee on anything and everything vertical around there, but they are going to pee a lot. You've got to remember to stop and let them pee.
Yeah.
You do not want that. You don't want them going without peeing. It's not good on them. So you just got to make sure you do that. If you keep them in the box, you got to remember to go out there and get them out of the box. Wintertime, whatever. Get them out of the box at that hunt. Go out there and let them pee. Even if you don't even think that they're going to pee, I guarantee you they will. If you're water baiting them and you're feeding wet,
yeah, they will.
They'll go. So, You got anything else you need to add?
Nope. I think we covered everything.
I said that I had a few things that I added that I didn't want to tell. So if you're listening, I'll share it with you. If you listen to the podcast, you're supporting our podcast. You shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll tell you what I do.
And they're good stuff.
And it works, doesn't it?
It works.
Yeah. And again, there's a possibility that it may not work for your dog, but I'd be shocked if it didn't. So.
Yeah.
Because not everything works. They're all individuals. I treat them all as individuals,
The one thing I haven't used, I know it works for you, but the other thing I have used, and it works. It 100% works. No questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
You said it doesn't work for me?
No. I said the one.
It does.
The one thing that you've used that you order.
Yeah.
I have not tried it. I never did try it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the other thing.
Oh, that's the main thing.
Yeah, but the other thing, it works. I know because that's what I tried. So, send me or Brett a message. Send Brett a message. He knows more about it than I do. I just listen to what he says. So I'm just learning. I'm still wet behind the ears.
Are we done talking about the heat and all that stuff? I'm getting hot. I'm getting thirsty.
Yeah, well, it's probably time to take a break.
Let's take a break.
So,
and then we'll get into this puppy care and whelping and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, you're yawning. You need some caffeine or something.
We might have to make that episode 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I don't think it'll take much longer. If you got to go or something, you got to get out of here.
No.
Funny how when you come to my house, you got to leave.
I ain't got to go nowhere.
Gosh, you live in the middle of nowhere too. It's like,
oh, don't even start living in the middle of nowhere. If you want to know more about these products, we said message us. But I tell you what. This is what we would like for you to do, and we're not sponsored by any of these products. These are products that me and Brett use, mainly Brett. I learned from them, but we're 176 subscribers away on YouTube from hitting 1,000. Go over to YouTube, find this podcast. In the comments, leave a comment like, yes, I want to know, or yes, I want to see. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, so we need 176 people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, me and Brett's going to get together. I'm going to do a YouTube video where you can actually see the products and we can kind of talk about it on there. It won't be very long, but you can kind of see what the products are and kind of get an idea of how they're used. So go over to YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, click the subscribe button, leave us a comment. And if you're listening to this on Apple, make sure you leave us 5 stars and drop us a few lines as well there. We'd appreciate it. So
when we do the video, I'm going to probably just video you and have you do it because I'm camera shy.
Yeah, you got a face for radio.
Oh, you're a smart aleck today.
Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to the Coonhound Collective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.